Look, if there's one thing that is clear, it's that Donald Trump is incapable of letting anything go. He does not care that his pursuits are unpopular with the American people and a drag on his party's reelection chances and in many parts of the country. He doesn't care that his efforts have failed over and over again. He'll just keep improvising new ways to push his agenda. And some of the documents under consideration for release Thursday relate to Georgia's 2020 results and the Senate runoffs that followed, according to two people familiar with the plans. That suggests Trump may use his address to call into question the elections of Georgia's Democratic Senators Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock ahead of a crucial midterm election in that state. How insane is that? I wonder what Jon Ossoff has to say about all of that. Joining me now is Democratic Senator Jon Ossoff of Georgia. He's a member of the Senate Intelligence Committee. Okay, there's so much to be said here, but why do you think Trump is giving this speech, and why now?
So before we get to this matter of the president potentially declaring sitting senators illegitimate, just take a step back.
That matter, yes, go ahead.
And look at the situation. You've got the American public broadly furious with the president for war and tariffs and health care cuts that are making everything more expensive. This palpable anger that he doesn't care about the cost of living crisis. He's more concerned with lining his own pockets. And so now he's pivoting, with the election just a few months away, from ballroom obsession to election conspiracy theory obsession. This is politically disastrous for Republicans in Georgia. Remember, the most popular Republican elected official in Georgia is Governor Brian Kemp. He's popular precisely because he didn't help Donald Trump steal the 2020 election. Remember that it's our Republican Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, that Donald Trump badgered and bullied to, quote, find the votes Donald Trump needed to win a state that Donald Trump had lost. Donald Trump tried to commit voter fraud in Georgia in 2021. My opponent, Mike Collins, on the other hand, is a dyed-in-the-wool election denier, Trump loyalist, Trump puppet who launched his general election campaign reaffirming his commitment to the big lie that Donald Trump won the 2020 election. And if folks want to help me defeat this MAGA fanatic congressman in Georgia, it's electjon.com.
Okay, so let's go back to Georgia, as you just outlined. You've lived it. He's kind of obsessed with Georgia. Trump is. It's also, he just went in and took voting machines from Fulton County, sent Tulsi Gabbard in there. We all remember her lurking behind the pillars there. Why is he obsessed with Georgia? Why?
In my view, he's obsessed with Georgia because he can't get over the fact that it was black voters and black political power who were instrumental to his defeat in Georgia and in a number of crucial battleground states. But look, there's talk that he might try to declare me and Raphael Warnock illegitimate senators. Obviously, the president has no power to do that, but he does have the power to try to intimidate people. He's demonstrated his will to abuse power. I expect him to use whatever he puts out there on Thursday as a pretext either for some attempted unconstitutional use of federal power to interfere in the election, or to give his proxies and loyalists in state and local jurisdictions some cover for whatever they might attempt, or to lay the groundwork for challenging the result. And the bottom line is that this is a real and live threat to voting rights in the United States right now, and perhaps the most significant we've faced since the 1960s. And I'm asking folks again to help me defend voting rights and get out the vote in Georgia at electjon.com.
So you just talked about something I think is really important for people to remember. This speech is not just a speech and then it ends. This speech is a part of an ongoing effort for him to delegitimize, disenfranchise voters, and to spread conspiracy theories. So let's just dig into what you just talked about what could be next, because you've been paying close attention to this. He gives this speech. First of all, are you worried that he's going to mention Georgia and try to push conspiracy theories out there? Potentially?
Look, his obsession with Georgia hurts Georgia Republicans. I mean, this is not a political winner for Congressman Mike Collins. Mike Collins, if he knows what's good for him, he already has to defend voting to double health insurance premiums for 1 million Georgians. I doubt he wants to spend the next 4 months dealing with Donald Trump's conspiracy theories about the 2020 election. But putting the politics aside, I'm concerned about the defense of voting rights in Georgia. I'm concerned about what Donald Trump abusing his federal power may do to try to interfere with the process or cast doubt on the results. And that's why I'm asking people to help me to defend voting rights and to make sure that we can empower every eligible voter in Georgia to navigate whatever obstacles are put in their path or whatever misinformation they're served.
So where does it go after Thursday? Because this is important for people to understand. This is just part of laying, could be, we don't know what's in the speech exactly, but everything we've seen from reporting could be laying the predicate here to do further investigations, to seize more ballots. Where do you think it goes?
I think that he is trying to create some pretext for an abuse of federal power, trying to create cover for state and local allies to get up to no good in those jurisdictions, and try to lay the groundwork for some kind of potential challenge to the results. That's what I think his goal is. But I think they're divided within the White House and the administration on this. And here's what I would say. If you're working in the Trump administration right now, if you're, say, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, and you see what's about to happen, that they're going to selectively declassify some nonsense to try to lay the foundation for some kind of mischief. This is the last chance to jump ship and speak out, because you will be forever tainted by your association with these kinds of shenanigans.
You talked about, I just played a clip at the beginning of the show. This is the glamour of the Senate, where you're asked by reporters questions in a parking lot. I think that must have been in a parking lot. But you talked about having conversations with your Republican colleagues who think, and I don't want to put, you basically said that Trump has lost it around this particular topic. Tell us more about, I know you're not going to name names, you're welcome to, about those conversations. What do Republicans tell you privately about this particular topic, this conspiracy theory pushing?
Let me say, it's not even new that in private conversations, a huge number of my Republican colleagues have contempt for the president. They view him as somebody who's adverse to their own interests. They know that he's torpedoing GOP chances in these midterm elections. But I don't think they're going to do anything about it. We should not hold out hope for a sudden outbreak of courage and integrity
and spine
among
growth.
Elected Republicans in Washington. He still has the GOP in his grip, and in particular, his most dedicated loyalists like Congressman Mike Collins, my opponent, who is a known and notorious bigot and anti-Semite, who is only a congressman because his daddy was a congressman, who Brian Kemp worked so hard to try to deny the Republican nomination because he's so extreme, because he's so unpalatable, and because as Donald Trump spirals into conspiracy land, Congressman Mike Collins is going to follow him right along.
You sit on the Senate Intelligence Committee. You're going to have the opportunity to question Jake Clayton in a hearing tomorrow. That feels quite awkward for Jake Clayton, given this speech on Thursday. Not our problem. What are you going to push him on? What are you going to press him on, given all of this, everything we've discussed?
Look, the office of the Director of National Intelligence right now is tainted. It's tainted by Tulsi Gabbard's misconduct when she went down to Georgia and, in her own words, at the request of the president, oversaw the execution of a search warrant on a sensitive election site. A massive abuse of that office. It's tainted by Bill Pulte and what Bill Pulte is doing in that office right now. And I sat down today with Jay Clayton to talk about his nomination, and I'll tell you candidly that he said nothing that allayed my concerns that he would be yet another puppet, that he said nothing that demonstrated any kind of will or any kind of real commitment to the independence that we need from the nation's senior-most intelligence officer. He'll have another chance to make his case tomorrow in the hearing.
Did you ask him about this potential of releasing all of this, declassifying all of this information in advance of Thursday?
You can rest assured that tomorrow I and a number of Democrats on the Intelligence Committee will be pressing him on related issues.
Senator Jon Ossoff, thank you as always. Thanks for being here.